This is Jonathan Agoff here for Pro Boxing Fans. We're down here in London today, ahead of Saturday night at York Hall, joined by Jim McDonnell, trainer of Jon Joe Nevin, who's just standing beside us. Just spoken to Jon Joe. He's in a very confident mood ahead of Saturday night. Is that what he's been like in training ahead of this one?
Yeah, I think when you're a fighter of his magnitude, of his class, so you know he's boxed at the highest level as an amateur, and he's now on a journey to get to the same destination as a professional, and I'll say it, outwardly he wants to be a world champion.
You mentioned his amateur sort of pedigree. They said in the press conference he's been in with the likes of Vasily Lomachenko, sparred numerous rounds with Luke Campbell. How much is that going to set him apart from the rest of the domestic opponents?
Miles, because you know when you've got, it's like in football, you've got the Premier League and then you've got the Championship, and he's sparring in the Premier League, so like, and that's the best way I can put it, because like, he's not boxing in the Premier League at the moment, but he's sparring in the Premier League.
What team would he be?
So this is, as a trainer, this is what you got to do. Listen, I'll be real. I'm a gooner, so he'll be an Arsenal. He'll be Arsenal. That'll do me. They're the top guns.
What do you know about Freddie Fonseca going into Saturday night? He's the WBA international titles on the line. How dangerous is he? Yeah,
he's got two dangers. One is a southpaw, and two is a puncher. So when you've got them two things to deal with, you've got to prepare for them. You can't say afterwards, "Oh, I didn't expect that." So we've ticked the boxes, we've prepped, and Jon Joe Nevin will deal with him.
I mean, Jon Joe said to me, obviously he's 13 unbeaten, but he said to me he hasn't really fought the calibre of opponents needed to challenge at a higher level. But do you see him stepping up after this one to that sort of fringe world level, for example?
Yeah, I think it's a case of when you've been a successful amateur like Jon Joe has, you've already boxed at a much higher level than you boxed as a pro. I mean, even myself, I was a top amateur. When I turned pro, the first few fights, felt like it felt nice. I felt comfortable. And obviously, as you go on, you step up in classes. I found that. But yeah, and I think this is just the right step at the right time. It's a big step, don't get me wrong, but because of Jon Joe's background, because of his pedigree, because of how good he is, it's the right step. So yeah, I think the timing's good.
Now, what else is happening in Jim McDonnell's world at the moment? Obviously, James De Gale retiring in February. Just on James De Gale, I saw him putting out an Instagram post, had an operation. Do you know how that went?
Yeah, his operation went really well. You know, listen, if James would have had his health throughout his career, I think you'd have realised how good he was. But he boxed a lot, especially the downside of his career. The last few fights he was boxing with injuries, and you know, but he's a brilliant fighter, like tremendous like athlete, and one of the best boxing brains you've ever seen. Just like he could work anyone out, and like I think he's one of Britain's best, yeah, for sure, by a long way as well. Absolute class.
I mean, do you think he's sometimes underappreciated by the British public? Obviously, Olympic gold medalist, beat, you know, huge opponents, De Gale, etc. Do you think he can be a bit underrated?
I think some people have missed the point, because not only is he the Olympic gold medalist, he's made history. He's the first Olympic gold medalist from our country to win a world title. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. I think he should get a lot more, and rightly so. And a class act as a person as well. Like really, like good. It ticked all the boxes for me. Fantastic fighter, fantastic person.
Do you know what his future plans are? Will he still be back in the gym helping you out? Is he looking at going into training, punditry? What do you believe is next for James De Gale? I
think like that's what James is doing now. Like when all fighters come to the end of their career, all you've known from being a young kid is boxing, training, and all of a sudden when you're no longer that athlete, no longer lead to train, it's like so what James is doing is like a good thing, which I advise all fighters to do. He's having a thing called downtime. So these are things he's got to decide for himself what he wants to do. Personally, I think he's every fighter would look up to him who everything he told them he'd stick to him, they'd listen to him. He's trained at the highest level, he's boxed at the highest level. He'd be a great boxing man. He'd be a great if he worked in the media side, he'd be fantastic at that. He reads a fight better than anyone I've ever known, ever. He would be absolutely unbelievable at that. So whatever he does, he'll be really good at it. If he goes into the boxing side, he's been, like I say, he's elite. getting fighters would be glued to what he tells them. He'd be brilliant at that, and he's good at putting it across as well. And he's trained harder than probably any superman I've ever known. So yeah, he'd be great at whatever route James decides to take. He'll be successful. That's James.
Just want to talk about his former opponent, Chris Eubank Jr., obviously fighting Korobov in December. How do you see that fight going?
It's another step in Chris Eubank Jr.'s career. As fighters, we will have to make them steps. I don't know what the state of play is with Korobov. I haven't really been following up on him, but I know of his achievements. I know what he's about. So I think it's probably the right step at the right time, because Chris Eubank Jr. needs these type of challenges himself, because that's what will get him up for it, and that's when you'll see the best of Chris, and we'll see what he's about. But it'd be interesting to see his journey.
Last one on Eubank. Going into that fight with Chunky, did you have a feeling? I mean, a lot of people say that James was perhaps past his best when he stepped in with Eubank. Did you have a feeling going into it that there was any issues, or was it just 100% going to beat Chris Eubank? Too much experience, too much pedigree at the highest level.
Let's put it this way: a James De Gale, who boxed Bouet, who boxed Durrell, who boxed Badu Jack, would never have lost to no one. Full stop. That's all I need to say on it. No one in the world. He was the best in the world. So that answers the question.
Just going on to next week, Callum Smith against John Ryder. Callum Smith defending his world title. How do you see that fight playing out?
It's a great fight. It's a great fight for the sport. It's as you just said, Callum Smith defending his world title. And what you got here is you've got an interesting thing, because you've got John Ryder, who wants to be champion, and you've got Callum Smith, who is champion. But it's an interesting fight. Please believe me, it's an interesting fight. It's intriguing. You know, everyone's leaning towards Callum, thinking, but John Ryder's going to be very determined. He's going to be very pumped. He's going to be in great shape. He's got a good team around him. They're very good at what they're doing, and it's an interesting fight. So I'm looking forward to watching that one.
Should Callum Smith come through this, there's been a lot of talk of who's going to face next. He wants that date at Anfield. Maybe Billy Joe Saunders, Canelo Alvarez. Who would you like to see him face next, should he come through?
Do you know what? When you mention them names, don't matter who's in the other corner. Canelo Alvarez is absolutely class. Billy Joe Saunders, you don't need to say nothing about Billy, he's like class. So them fights at that magnitude, that's like watching Leonard Hearns, Leonard Hagler. So yeah, Callum Smith against Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith against Canelo. Bring it on.
Does Canelo Alvarez make your top 3 pound for pound list? If not, who?
Do you know what? That's a tough question to answer me on the spot. But he's up there with all of them. Like, he's just like, easily. I mean, you can start going Mayweather, you can start going Andre Ward, James De Gale, and I'll put James in that echelon as well. These boys are like, so whatever position you plant them in, they deserve to be there.
Final two, Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz. The rematch is only about 3 weeks away Saturday. Does Anthony Joshua get the belts back for you?
Do you know what? I sincerely know that Anthony Joshua's like Olympic champion, world champion, and he's already been in with Ruiz. He knows exactly what Ruiz is about. Ruiz surprised everyone, including me. I didn't think he was as good as he was. When I watched the fight, I was like, gee, couldn't believe how talented he was. On his side, Ruiz, no one else thought he could win the last fight, but he did. Like, I didn't, no one did. But now in his head he knows he can win. So it's a different type of fight for Anthony this time. Whereas before Anthony was probably confident he was going to win, now he knows unless he ticks all the boxes and boxes at his highest echelon, that he could come second. But I believe that the great in Britain, and Anthony's representing Great Britain, I think Anthony Joshua will be really up for this fight. I think he was up for the first fight physically. I've done all the training, but sometimes, and I've been there myself as a fighter, sometimes unless you're challenged mentally, if I'm fighting Barry McGuigan and Zuma Nelson, you're automatically, but if you're fighting lower echelons of fighters, they're still good fighters, and if you just turn it down a little bit, you can come undone. But whether that happened to Anthony, I don't know, but one thing we will see in this fight, we will see the best of AJ, and I think that would be good enough to win the title back.
Finally, what other projects do you have going on right now, training alongside Jon Joe Nevin?
But I'm always ticking a few things because I'm always looking at the next stage. So I've got got a few decent fighters like in the gym, and like I said to you, a welterweight kid who's undefeated called Chris Kongo, so he's a work in progress. So they're doing stuff away from the cameras now to build them for when they've got to do 12, 15 rounds, 12 rounds, easy 12 rounds down the line. So yeah, it's building for the future. Reece Blott is back in the gym, so next year he'll push back in with the featherweights in and get back on that. But he's come out of the loss, and he's really been strong about it. And so yeah, so it's a bit onwards and upwards, and push on for the next chapter.
Just on Chris Kongo now, you mentioned him. I know he was meant to get out on the De Gale Eubank undercard. And has it been like a frustrating period for him? He must be itching to get back up.
It is, because I don't think people understand, and this is what James said at a press conference about myself, because I've boxed at the highest level. When they train for a contest, they train at the highest level, and it's brutal what they've got to do, because the sessions are hard. So when he's got ready and he's gone through that type of work, then the plug's been pulled. That's why the frustration kicks in, because of how hard physically he's had to push himself and lock himself away. That's where the frustration. If it was just a poodle and it was easy, he wouldn't care. But it's the things you have to go through, and then told no. It's like, it's just frustrating. So yeah, I can see why he is frustrated.
Jim, I appreciate you giving us some time, and best of luck with Jon Joe on Saturday night.
Appreciate it, mate.